This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, who is going to tell me if you got all your Christmas shopping done.
I believe I do. My wife tells me there's maybe another trip or two I need to make out to the store. Normally, I know I shouldn't say this for all the retailers who are out there, you know.
Be careful.
But my idea of Christmas shopping is for the people on my list to give me a list of gifts with links, catalog pages or links. And I sit down and wear my fingers out Christmas shopping and then checking the porch every day. But this year, my closest loved ones, they just gave me items. And I've actually, do you know that there are malls still out there that people go to? And they're fun.
There are. We report on them every now and then.
Yeah, and they're vital to your, probably to your business plan. So good for them. And I'm happy that they're there. And I was at the mall and I said, "Where's the women's?
Went to the mall?
Where's the women's section?" And she said, "That's at the other end." I said, "You mean the other end of the store?" And she said, "No, the other end of the mall."
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So
they had them separated there.
It's really been a learning experience for me, and it's been enriching. I'm happy to.
I will say that I am fortunate in that my wife likes to do most of the Christmas shopping for most of the people in our family, and then there are several people that I am supposed to buy for, including her.
Yes.
And I can go like 2 days before Christmas and knock it out in 2 hours. I know what I want to get.
Well,
I just go get it. That's how efficient I am about it. I don't
well, you should see me at the
mall. I don't have to go wander around for like, days or
Once
anything.
I realized Dillard's was at both ends, I mean, you know, I go back and forth. I hit it and get out.
You didn't stop at the 14 stores in between, because that's the business model there, is that you will stop at those other stores and buy a pretzel or some ice cream dots or something.
Or the kiosks with all those things. Yeah, no. I'm a focused type person. I am very focused. Get it done. So let's get this done.
Let's focus.
Nobody gives a darn about this.
All right.
Or what else we're going to talk about.
All right. So on late Friday, a federal judge in Texas rules that Obamacare is unconstitutional. This will obviously be appealed, eventually find its way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. How correct or incorrect was the decision, do you think?
Oh, I think it's totally incorrect, and I think Chief Justice Roberts, who's now the best we can hope for in a swing vote, but on this issue, he cast the fifth vote, which saved Obamacare in the first big lawsuit, and he did so by saying that by assigning penalties on taxes for not meeting the individual mandate, therefore that was a tax, and Congress has the clear authority to tax. Congress subsequently in the tax bill zeroed out the penalties. So this argument, this judge in Texas, he said, well, there's no penalty anymore. The justification that the Chief Justice cited doesn't exist, so the individual mandate must go. Maybe. Okay. Individual mandate goes. With no penalty, it doesn't have any teeth anyway. But beyond that, he said, absent the individual mandate, the entire law collapses. Meaning you can't have Medicaid expansion in Arkansas anymore. People with pre-existing conditions, you don't have the federal guarantee of equitable treatment on premiums and care. He would throw the whole thing out over that reason. The concept of severability is well established. And I think the easiest ruling here is that Judge Roberts probably will be the fifth vote when it gets to the Supreme Court in 18 months to 2 years or whenever, that the individual mandate, yeah, okay, it's got to go. Justified it by taxes. There's no tax, but that doesn't have anything to do with Medicaid expansion, which ensures 250,000 Arkansans, or the coverage for pre-existing conditions. That's why I think it's going to end up. But Leslie Rutledge, our Attorney General, who attached herself to this lawsuit of many right-wing governors and attorneys general around the nation, she can brag that she undid Obamacare, did everything that she could, which is what this is all about.
Yeah, her statement suggests too that Congress must now take action, which in a divided Congress, we are unlikely to see any type of consensus for some action being taken when the Republicans controlled all the levers of Congress and the executive branch. They could not get on the same page with an overturning.
Yes, this is the justification that premiums are rising too much under Obamacare, and it's an oppressive mandate. Premiums are rising too much. That means fix the program. It doesn't mean throw it out. But she spouts this focus group tested Republican jargon that now Congress can design something fairer and more equitable and more sustainable. And then she cites in her comment, and she and other conservatives, we can design a system to cover pre-existing conditions that gives greater flexibility to the states. More frightful words I have never heard. You know what flexibility to the states means? It means a mean state like Arkansas can throw people off of Medicaid for not clicking a computer and call it a work requirement when the governor of the state, in a governor's debate, plainly said, I've got to do this work requirement or these Republicans in my own party in the legislature won't continue the program. That's flexibility. We don't need flexibility in the states when states are that mean and that irresponsible. What we need is the federal government provides most of the money for Medicaid. The federal government is entitled to make basic, nationwide, mandated assurances. And this sound nice thing, forgive the air quotes, this sound nice thing, flexibility of the states. Boy, have you seen some of these states?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mitt Romney being in the U.S. Senate in the next session, that might help? I mean,
you mean Romney Care?
Yeah.
The author of Romney Care in Massachusetts, which is just like Obamacare.
Right, correct.
At the state level.
Yeah.
Well, he disavowed it all as a candidate for president. Maybe he'll go back to his other self now. Mitt is flexible himself. Speaking of state flexibility, Mitt has political flexibility. You know, this is the kind of guy who makes this major statement about what a horrible person Donald Trump is, and the Republicans dare not nominate him. And then he gets elected, and Mitt goes and has a nice dinner and begs to be Secretary of State. So I have no confidence in Mitt Romney.
Okay, I'm just asking. Now, Governor Asa Hutchinson, much more measured in his reaction to the ruling, said that it would clearly have to go to the Supreme Court, and said it really should not cause any uncertainty right now for Arkansas Works. Do you think come legislative session there will be no concerns about the certainty of Arkansas Works? Or do you think there will be some legislators that will say, we have to do something now in the wake of this court decision?
No, I think that the governor can prevail on his party to at least wait a while before they destroy the program that, I'm telling you, watching Governor Hutchinson negotiate this landscape in which he is a reasonable Republican, which is kind of oxymoronic anymore, at least in the Arkansas legislature. He knows the importance of this program to people, to rural hospitals, to the state budget, to all of our insurance rates. Do you know all our rates come down because the state pays to put 250,000 people in our pool?
Yeah, the private option of putting private carriers in the midst of our Medicaid expansion.
The bigger the pool, the less the cost per person. And we early put our Medicaid expansion in this innovative private option, Arkansas Works, whatever your brand. So Asa, whenever something like this happens, you watch Asa try to sound Republican, but try to be reasonable. And it's one of these days he's going to straddle so much he splits his britches. But that's just part of being governor of the state. He does not want. Forgive that imagery. Forgive that imagery.
You're going to get me in so much trouble today with all of these allusions and references and things. It's good.
The governor does not want Obamacare repealed. He would love for Judge Roberts and five Supreme Court justices to affirm that the mandate doesn't exist, because it doesn't exist anyway. But leave his dadgum Medicaid expansion alone. I mean, he owns it, and he likes it. And this notion that a Texas judge could just haul off and say, well, the whole thing collapses. It's a house of cards without the mandate. He doesn't like that, and he's hoping to goodness that doesn't come to pass. And I do not believe, to your specific question, I don't think that becomes an issue in this session. A bigger issue in this session is one you and I have talked about for Medicaid. If the federal judge in D.C. outlaws the work requirement, as I think he will, and comes down with a ruling sometime in March when the Revenue Stabilization Act is not yet passed and the Medicaid appropriation, that's the greater risk in this coming session.
Let's talk about a column that you put out on Sunday, completely changing subjects here, that talks about a high school newspaper does what would be called an expose on some athletes and how some things were being done up there, and they get censored as a result of that, but not for long because of the outcry. What's your interest in this story?
My interest in that was something I'm not sure I executed in the column as well as I wanted to. But I think I did, but I opened a can of worms, by the way. I mean, there are two sides in Springdale to this story, okay? Springdale High School has a story just like Springdale, what's it called?
Harbor.
Harbor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, H-A-R-B-E-R. There's a reason for that, right? That is called that.
There is. I think it's
named for somebody,
yeah.
right? And, and I've been hearing from people like there are two sides to this story, and this piece in the high school paper wasn't fair. Okay. That's one issue. My interest is this notion about journalism and the challenges of journalism. These kids encountered what all of us encounter in this business all the time. And one of them, a real bright one, editor, she thanked the school board for putting them through this ordeal, but later she said, you know, when we get older, we won't have these people looking over our shoulder. Yes, you do. You need people looking over your shoulder in our business, and in the Trump era, the whole concept of journalistic fairness and challenges to doing our job are strong. There is free press in this country. That means I can write whatever column I want to write. That there is not economic freedom in this country, which means I don't have the right to have somebody who's in a commercial enterprise of publishing put that column in his paper. He can leave it out. What these kids experience.
Give me options for how I can handle some of the content.
You, as the owner of this talk business enterprise, you and the editors here have a right after I leave to just wholesale erase parts of what I've said, right?
Goodness. Yeah.
The thing.
Make a note of that.
The pointless early discussion about retail. You know, you could take that out. And if you just don't like, you think I'm being too hard on the Republicans, you could just take that out. And I have no constitutional right to make you put it in. And the kids learned a valuable lesson. And I was just saying this, and I'm trying to make that point for their sakes, but also to illuminate for the general reader. Journalism is a very challenging, difficult pursuit. It's a business model mixed with constitutional rights. And the economic liberty does not exist. It exists only for the guy who owns the press or the website, or in your case, the talk business table.
All right, you're going to come back before the end of the year, and you and I are going to sit down and talk about some of the bigger stories of the year in Arkansas politics. You promise?
Well, yeah, if depending on how much you cut this before. Well, of course I'll be here, and you have full ownership of what I say after I say it. Thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Won't see you next Monday. Yeah, okay. Merry Christmas.
Take the day off.
All right.
That's all for today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We will see you soon.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.